Whimsicott is weird. On paper, a Pokemon with stats this low and a type combination this underwhelming shouldn't be looked at twice. Yet Whimsicott still finds itself as one of the most used Pokemon in VGC 2020. Here's why. Whimsicott is a grass fairy type, which makes it weak to fire, ice, flying, and steel, with a 4 times weakness to poison. Thankfully, all of those weaknesses come with a handful of resistances such as water, electric, grass, fighting, ground, and dark, with an immunity to dragon. Typically, a standalone grass type struggles because of all the weaknesses that it has, but with the added fairy type, Whimsicott is able to gain 3 extra resistances and 1 immunity. Also, because of the fairy grass type, Whimsicott is such an easy addition to your team because it fulfills both a part in the fire water grass core and a part in the dragon fairy steel core. Stats on this Pokemon are very underwhelming. It doesn't excel in defenses and it doesn't excel in offenses, but what it does excel at is speed. Whimsicott is one of the fastest Pokemon in Sword and Shield and the fastest Prankster Pokemon in the game. For those watching that are maybe unfamiliar with the Prankster ability, also known as the ability that you want on Whimsicott, what it does is that it increases the priority of status moves by +1. This ability enables Whimsicott to have access to a priority Tailwind above a bunch of other great status moves that we are going to go over later on in this video. The reason having priority Tailwind is such a big deal is because with the dynamic speed changes made to Sword and Shield, you are essentially capable of having 4 turns of Tailwind rather than the previous 3 turns from other generations. If you guys are confused by what I mean when I say dynamic speed changes, we're also going to go over that later on in the video. Essentially, Whimsicott is saved by having access to the Prankster ability along with the abundance of supportive moves at its disposal. Throughout the video, we're going to go over 4 of the best sets for Whimsicott in VGC 20. Much of these sets remain similar throughout because Whimsicott really only has one job: support your allies. Although I believe they are different enough to where we can dissect them properly and talk about which situations you would use specific sets. The first set we have is probably one of the most basic Whimsicott sets. You see the Focus Sash, you see the Prankster ability, and you see max special attack and max speed. Now, the reason we're running max special attack and speed, even though we are a supportive Pokemon, is because you want to be as fast as you can to make sure that you get your status condition or you get your status move off before the enemy Pokemon and opposing Prankster Pokemon. Along with that, you also want to run max special attack because since we're running Focus Sash, there's no real use to have any investment in your defenses. You might as well go straight special attack because you want your Focus Sash to be used anyway, and on top of that, your Moonblast will be doing as much damage as possible. Speaking of Moonblast, that is the only attacking move on our set. I like to keep at least 1 attacking move on my Whimsicott just because I don't like to just be taunt bait, and I want to have some type of offense in case I do get taunted. Then at least I could stay on the field without being forced to switch. So I'm running Moonblast, Tailwind, Taunt, and Helping Hand here. The next that we have is very similar because EVs remain the same, items remain the same, Prankster remains the same, nature remains the same, everything remains the same, except this is a very interesting Whimsicott set because it's meant to lower your enemy's stats. With the Charm and Fake Tears add-on, you are essentially able to make your adjacent special attacking Pokemon do a lot of damage by making it have anything that Whimsicott targets have -2 special defense. And you're also making it so that your adjacent Pokemon can't get one-shot easily by physical attackers because you're able to lower the enemy's physical attack by -2 as well. The next set is kind of gimmicky, but I have a lot of fun with it, and I've had a lot of fun with it in the past as well. It's a Salac berry, and essentially you can run any berry that boosts stats in that slot. So like Ganlin berry would boost defense. I'm running Salac just because it would boost speed. I'm running Salac berry with Fling. Now the idea behind this set is to fling Salac berry onto one of your adjacent Pokemon, and then that way, especially if it's a ghost type, and that way you'll be able to break the weakness policy because you're technically hitting your adjacent with a dark type move, which ghost is weak to. Pop the weakness policy and then get a +1 in speed as well, making it a very fast offensive threat. I tend to like to pair this Whimsicott with a Dragapult. Dragapult does this strategy very well. You just have to make sure that you EV the Dragapult in order to underspeed your Whimsicott so that you don't get the speed boost the following turn. And on top of that, I'm also running max HP here instead of max special attack because since I'm not running a Focus Sash, I want to be able to tank as many hits without sacrificing my speed. The next and final set we have here is the Eject button set. Now this set is particularly used when going against the Dynamax Pokemon that you don't want to deal with. You're able to switcheroo the Eject button onto the adjacent Pokemon, or onto the opposite Pokemon, and then hit it with your adjacent Pokemon, preferably with a priority move. And then that's just gonna activate the Eject button and then switch out the Dynamax immediately that following turn. Now I'm also running max HP here because I'm not running Focus Sash. And moves remain the same: Moonblast, Tailwind, Beat Up, and Switcheroo. I mean, I put Beat Up here just because Beat Up and Justified is also a very good strategy that you can use. It has been nerfed now. Beat Up and Fling both have been nerfed because of the presence of Follow Me Togekiss. So please keep that in mind if you do plan on trying to run either of those two. But all in all, it's a pretty good set. Definitely does its job. And you know, Whimsicott's not a bad Pokemon. And there you have it, my best sets for Whimsicott and VGC 20. If you guys enjoyed what you saw here today, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to help us with our road to 1,000 subscribers. Also, make sure to check out our podcast every Wednesday on this channel or on any other podcast providers. Check out our Patreon for a bunch of perks. We also have merch out right now, so if you're interested, check the comment section or the description for a link to those as well. If you have any Whimsicott set that we didn't mention in today's video, then feel free to share it in the comment section below, along with asking us any questions that you may have about anything you saw in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kevin. This is Pokesports. Peace out.